Hello everyone, welcome to another YouTube video. So you might be wondering, Super King, where have you been? And the answer is, I forgot my YouTube password. But no, actually what happened was I had like a bunch of IRL stuff going on, and I also was feeling kind of demotivated to make videos in the first place. But then I realized, like, wait a minute, the entire point of the video I'm trying to make for this time is literally about demotivation and whatnot, so it'd be kind of hypocritical of me to, not make a video. Also, I'm doing better, in case you're wondering. Anyway. Also, if you're wondering why my skin changed, it's because it's Halloween, and you might be thinking, oh, Super King, really? That's all you did for Halloween? No, the answer is I also put this jack-o'-lantern here and put the sun to sunset, because radical change is definitely part of my channel. Anyway, what's the actual... I forget that I don't have Toggle Sprint anymore. LaTeX client. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway. Point is, I've actually had like a few videos I want to make, and I'm going to be jumping on the exact same alignment of blocks. Welcome to another epic Super King 100 commentary video. This one is about the evil voice inside your head, and I made a video about this a while ago. I don't know how coherent it was, so I kind of wanted to do a follow-up because I think it's a really important thing. So basically, the premise is... Oh my god, the sound is too loud. Give me a sec. Okay, I just manually turned the volume down. I don't know how well it works in the recording. Anyway. I digress. So anyway, I made a video of this, a while ago. I don't know how well it was, so I'm gonna make basically a follow-up. You don't have to watch the old video. I'm just gonna repeat everything. So basically, it seems to be a common issue in today's society where people, like, you go out and, like, whenever anything goes wrong, or even if it goes right, you, like, feel like... Obviously it's like okay to feel bad about making mistakes and whatnot, but then we beat ourselves up over it mentally, and we say very, very like negative stuff, and the problem, like, it's okay to say like negative stuff occasionally, but the problem is that when you say negative things in your head, like you think negative thoughts, the problem is that those negative thoughts, they don't just like, oh, I think them and they're gone. No. Okay, instead what usually happens is you think negative thoughts, that causes you to feel worse, so you think more negative thoughts, or even more negative thoughts, and then you feel even worse, and it's just like this huge snowball effect that, doesn't lead like anywhere useful. It just makes the problem like 10 times worse. Which honestly was happening to me the past few days. Not exactly because of bad thoughts, but just because of bad feelings, which is another topic. But like, okay, I guess it's not entirely related. But the point is that, like, it's important to gauge what thoughts you are thinking in your mind, because here's the thing. Whatever thoughts you are thinking in your mind, you might think, oh, those thoughts, like, I'm just thinking them. They aren't reality, right? Or maybe they are reality, but the point is that your brain is listening, and it cannot distinguish between when you're being sarcastic or when you're being, non-sarcastic and whatnot. So if you're thinking, like, say you mess up on something, and you're just like, why do I always mess up? Like, why I'm never gonna get this, or I'm such a, I like always mess up. Why am I such a mess, etc., etc. Just negativity. It's not going, like, what do you think? You're going to be like, oh, yes, I'm doing so terribly, so now I'm going to all of a sudden prove myself. No, you're going to feel even worse, okay? Like, many people, and unfortunately this was me a few years ago, many people think, like, oh, you have to, like, suffer because you messed up. No, okay? Every single person in the world, no matter, what they've done, no matter how bad it's gotten or whatever, everyone deserves compassion. And so if you're able to deliver yourself compassion, that is going to help you, because no one can do anything if they don't have that safety net of, okay, regardless of how bad things get, regardless of, whatever's going on, I can, still, like, care for myself. I can still love myself. I can still, not beat myself up, over something that, okay, how do we fix it? Like, that's what you need to do if you mess up on something. It's not, oh, let's beat myself up and how can I, beat myself up mentally. It's more... What you should be focusing on is, okay, well, how can we, improve that, stop it from happening again, apologize for it, like, how can we do better and, improve myself? And, it's really a big problem, because, if you have these negative thoughts, they can take over, they can snowball, and then, the problem with negative thoughts, and I don't want to make it sound like, oh, if you have, like, any negative emotion, it's terrible, you need to eliminate it. No, okay, negative emotions, I like to think of them as indicators, okay? Like, they're useful, okay? Don't like, if you were angry or sad about something, that is a useful indicator. It tells you that, hey, you don't like what's going on in the situation, you want to change it. Okay, and that might not always be possible if someone else messed up and is making you mad or sad or whatever, and obviously mad or sad isn't all the emotions. You can also like have disgust, you can have envy, a bunch of other emotions, but every single emotion you have, positive, negative, whatever, it is an indicator. And obviously in life you want to hopefully experience a lot of positive emotions, because that's being happy, but that doesn't mean just eliminating any negative emotions. Okay, that's not what I'm on about here. But when you turn those negative emotions, when you act on them, or when you think thoughts that cause those negative emotions to grow, that's when it becomes a problem, because then it's no longer the event that caused the negative emotion or negative circumstance that happened. It's the thoughts that are making it even worse, and that's really what I want to address here. And the problem is too that, again, I might have said this earlier, your brain is listening. So if you are constantly saying, a bunch of negative thoughts to yourself, your brain has a perception of reality. It basically thinks, okay, this is how the world works. This is how I work. This is how, basically everything works around me. So if you're constantly saying, oh, this is doom, gloom, world's gonna end, etc., or, oh, I'm terrible at this, I'll never get good, your brain is going to think that. And gradually over time, that is going to become your perception of reality. And the problem with that is that then once you have a perception of, oh, I always mess up, or I'll never get this, or the world sucks, you're going to your brain subconsciously is going to actively look for opportunities or circumstances to prove your mental model. So if you are looking for someone to hurt you, for example, and that's what you expect from the world. Oh yeah, everyone, around me is just gonna hurt and betray me at the, first opportunity. That is what is going to happen in your life, because you're actively looking for it. Okay. Similarly, if you, think, oh, well, I always mess up. Oh, why could I never get this done? Again, your brain is going to look for opportunities to prove that, and you're going to perform worse as a result. If you think that you are a major, you always mess up everything, then you're going to actively look, you aren't going to try as hard, because why would you try as hard if you think that you're, at the end of the day, you're always going to mess up? It wouldn't make sense logically. But the problem is that, obviously the, negative thoughts you're having aren't fully logical. So, thinking, it's a really big maxim, or what's the word I'm looking for? Axiom, that's what I'm looking for. It's a really big axiom in life that you need to have. Okay, full disclosure, I stepped away from, or I didn't step away from my computer for 1 second, but I blinked on a thing, and for literally 5 straight minutes I could not remember my train of thought. I don't know what I'm doing, but anyway, what I was trying to say is that it's a good axiom to have, that your perception is not reality. And it's really important to make the distinction between what is actually reality, objectively, and what is your perception of it. And it's important to accept you will never, ever know what is actually reality. Okay, look, it is impossible in science to prove anything. Sure, we have evidence to, support, let's say gravity, for instance. Okay, we have great theories on gravity. I have a question for you. Is the law of gravity, as Einstein's relativity, is that correct? Is that correct? Can you prove it? The answer is no, we can't prove anything, okay? All we can do is say, okay, of the tests we've conducted, we have not successfully disproved it over a lot of trials. But that isn't proof. That's just failure to disprove. So, when we're saying things about life, oh, XYZ sucks, or I suck, or, stuff like that, you can't prove that either, okay? It works for that too. So, if you can't prove it, then wouldn't you want it to be something that, actually, is more in line with reality and, is more positive and helpful? I think that's, would be the better idea. And, the problem is that, if you are, sort of more far gone and, you've already, said a lot of negative stuff about yourself or the world or whatever, you might have already deluded your brain. Your brain might have already, converted your positive perception of reality into a very, very negative one. And, that's really, unfortunate, because it's not necessarily true. Okay. And, the way you can tell, like, first off, if you have a bad, I like to call this the evil thought, because basically they're just completely not helpful. They're just downright, they're just evil. Like, they aren't doing you any favors. They're just making your life worse or harder or whatever. And the way you can tell whether you're having an evil thought or an evil perception of reality is basically to ask yourself 3 or 4 big questions. Okay, and these are basically, first of all, are you thinking negative thoughts? Okay, or is your perception of reality generally negative? Okay, now obviously you can have negative thoughts, okay? It's not just, oh, any one of these is instantly negative thought. No, okay, like I can think of negative thoughts all the time. For example, let's say I lose in a Minecraft, championship. I don't really go to Minecraft tournaments anymore, but whatever. Suppose I really care about a Minecraft championship and I go and I, lose terribly, come out last, okay? I could have a negative thought that says, okay, that didn't go as well as I would have wanted, okay? I could even have a negative thought that says, okay, I went out first. That did not go according to plan whatsoever. Okay, that is a negative thought technically, but I would not classify that as an evil thought. Now, an evil thought, by contrast, would be more in the lines of, "Ugh, I suck. Why am I so bad at this game? Ugh, I'll never get good at this game. I might as well quit." Stuff like that. Okay. So obviously negativity isn't enough, but obviously you're gonna question positivity. Okay, that's not the point of this. But then the next thing you can tell if it's evil thought is if it is incredibly vague. Okay, because and this is going to basically be every single evil thought. Okay, like there are exceptions. It's not necessarily a guarantee, but pretty much every single negative thought you have or their negative perception of reality is going to be really, really vague or just not provable because it's not true. Okay, like for example, in the tournament, let's go with the generic "I suck." Okay, I'll never be good at this game. Yeah, that's about as vague a statement as you can get. What the heck does sucking at Minecraft mean? Does it mean like, oh, you're dying to zombies? Does it mean like you just logged on for the first time? There are many things that could mean, and you're not getting specific at all. Okay, when if you were to get specific, it would be like, okay, what actually happened? You lost in this tournament for this specific tournament. Yeah, that seems a lot better than just generic "I suck. I'll never be good at this," right? Because again, that's more specific. And the next thing that is common in the evil thoughts or evil perceptions of reality is when you are basically losing all hope. Okay. Or thinking of things like, oh, it's never going to get better. And honestly, that's slightly to point 4, which is basically whenever you're using an absolute, a negative absolute, those are almost always going to be a negative perception that's just not realistic. Because let's be honest, okay? First of all, if you're saying something negative of the past, unless you're saying something basically along the lines of, I have never gone skydiving before, it's almost always, and I'm using almost because again, I'm not, going to use an absolute in my answer, but almost always, it's going to be incorrect, okay? Because the problem is, for example, if you say, oh, I always, and then vague negativity, that's not true, okay? Do you always mess up? Do you know how to walk? Do you know how to talk? Do you know how to, listen to this video right now that's, supposedly a sort of self-help video? Well, the answer to all those questions is literally yes, unless you're I don't know, how are you listening to this? You're listening to this video, okay? You can't deny that. So you clearly are doing something right. So own it, okay? Don't just say, oh, I always mess up. No, you're doing something good right now. Unless you're not paying attention, in which case, well, then it doesn't matter. This video isn't reaching you anyway, right? But seriously, whenever you think negative thoughts oh, generic negativity that does not leave room for personal growth or personal, changing, you pretty much know that it is a negative thought. Now, hopefully most of you are on board with this, but some of you guys might unfortunately have had negative thoughts for so long that, it's warped your perception of reality already, so you don't even bother questioning it. And so, to those people, I would like to ask you, basically, this is, you can also do when you're talking to your evil voice, is basically think of, what you would say to, or not what you you can think of what you would say to a friend. Okay, that's a generic self-help tool. but more along the lines of what I'd ask you is, how do you know it's realistic? Okay, there are like about, give or take 10 billion people in the world. I think it's like 8 or something billion, but whatever, around to 10 billion. There are 10 billion people in the world, give or take. Out of those 10 billion people, how many do you actually know? Like seriously, how many people do you actually know? Okay, maybe you've seen like 10,000 faces, maybe let's even say 100,000 faces. Okay, out of the 100,000 faces you have met, keep in mind is like, I don't know, 1 in 1,000. No, I think it's 1 in 10,000, or maybe even 100,000. It's a 1 in a lot. Okay, you haven't even seen the vast majority. Okay, in statistics, that's what we call literally insignificant. Okay, that is statistically not a number. Okay, not to mention, it's all, in your own life. So, you've probably seen, more people that are local to, the region you're in, as opposed to literally everyone else in the world. Okay, now, out of those, say 100,000-ish people you've, seen their faces, how many of you actually talked to? Now, out of that many, how many of you actually, talk to on a regular basis? Out of that many, how many of you actually talk to on a regular basis enough to know, like, more about their character? And out of that many, how many of you actually become, like, close friends with? Now, we're talking very much less than 100. Okay, like, I'd be surprised if anyone got close to 100. Probably somewhere in the tens, maybe, less than 10, but, certainly less than 100. I don't think anyone's having, more than 100 close friends in their life, okay? Unless you're, like, 100 years old and, you had a friend for, I don't know. I don't even know how this situation come about. You don't have, more than 100 friends. Close friends, okay? Like, you might know a few people, oh yeah, these are acquaintances, but, know them. Now, that means your perception of reality is based on a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, like so many fractions of what reality actually is, what is possible to experience in your life, okay? Suppose you lived, and, keep in mind, like, how many years have you lived of your life, okay? Like, with my medical technology, I'm, hoping I can live to, like, 100 and over. I mean, I'm hoping that I can live forever, but obviously that's probably not going to happen. Just from, random junk happening, car accidents and whatnot. I don't know, self-driving cars. Anyway, I digress. But point is like, okay, suppose you live to 100, it's round for the sake of argument. How many years have you actually lived? Okay, if you're like, most people, you probably, like, if you're watching this video, let's say probably average age of my audience is about 20, probably it's a bit older, but whatever, let's round to 20. If you've lived like 20 years old, that is like 20%. Okay, so 20% of your life you have lived, and you have, experienced maybe 1 in 100 million of the people in the world. Yeah, you don't know anything about how life works, okay? And I'm not talking like, oh, I'm not trying to gaslight you being like, oh yeah, your experience is irrelevant, it doesn't mean anything. No, it teaches you lessons, but don't extrapolate those lessons to everywhere in life and know with 100% certainty that you are correct about it. Because, obviously, there is a lot of good stuff in the world. I mean, heck, why do people write entire books about, why am I making this YouTube video in the first place? Because I've seen at firsthand how, hey, I can go from, terrible situation to, hey, life is actually really nice. And, I want to share with you guys. And so many people have had, similar stories. And that's also another thing, because, if you think, oh, life's terrible, et cetera, well, there are 50 million people that have already gone through the exact same thing as you and have literally, like, said exactly what I'm saying now, which is basically, stick with it. It's, not as bad as you think, et cetera. So, considering literally everyone has, okay, not everyone, but like everyone that has lived long enough with whatever you're going through right now has come on the other side, I think you might want to listen to, a bit of what they have to say, huh? You might be, I don't know, wrong. Anyway, so hopefully I convinced you to at least give it a chance, that, okay, maybe I shouldn't be listening to this, evil voice inside my head. My evil thoughts that are constantly telling me, hey, I'm not good enough, or I'm not X enough, or, oh, the world's out to get me, or the world's just terrible, or, I'll always be terrible, or whatever, like, just, again, negative, vague stuff that doesn't have room for hope or personal self-growth or, other people's self-growth. And again, this doesn't mean, not being accountable for stuff you do. It simply means, hey, if you mess up, try to address it, move forward, and, the most important thing is you have to move forward, because if you're constantly, stuck in the past of, oh, I messed up, et cetera, you're not moving forward. And then, you're just making the situation worse, not better. Okay. And, the thing with that, how do you do it? And there are a few steps. Okay, the first step is to first of all recognize when such cases have occurred. Okay, so first of all, go in your own life and think of every negative thought you've had and question, okay, are these negative thoughts vague? Are they hopeful, or lack of hope in any way? Are they using a bunch of absolutes? Okay, it's a very big indicator if you use like the words like always, never, or generic like vague negativity terms like suck or terrible, or anything that is not specifically like, hey, I lost at this specific thing, I expected this, and it was for this reason. Anything that's not in that line is not going to be helpful. Okay, and you go back. And then next, like you go back, over say the past week or so, or however long you want to, and think of it. Okay, right now, pause the video if you want. Take a moment and think about it. Okay, if you have any questions, you can obviously DM me on my Discord, or you message in my Discord. I'll be happy to help. But then, basically, what you want to do is you want to think about those and be like, okay, what can I do for next time? What is a better thought I can do? Because it's very hard to think of a better thought in the moment. But if you can address them from the past and say, okay, this is a better thought to have. And again, you're not trying to be like, oh, this is more positive. You're trying to be more realistic. Okay, and realistic is not just vague. Okay, you want to be specific, and you want to be hopeful, and have room for personal growth. Okay, because at the end of the day, what is the point of your thoughts? It's to improve yourself. It's to make yourself better than you were before. Okay, that's called learning from your mistakes. That's the whole point. So if you are able to say, let's take the generic example that I've been going with. Okay, say I lose in a Minecraft tournament. Okay, say in like generic negative thought is, oh, I suck, I'll never be good, I'll never get good at Minecraft, all these people are like so much better than me, they're probably laughing at me. Okay, here's how you can address this. Say, okay, that's definitely vague, definitely negative, does not leave room for personal growth, etc., etc. Like how are you supposed to personally improve? You suck. You can't. Okay, it's just you suck. Okay, I can't really argue with that, right? Like, imagine like the school bully, told you that, and like, you're not going to buy it from him. Why are you buying it from yourself, right? So what you're going to do is now we're going to come up with a better thought, which is basically, okay, I got out first in this tournament. I felt embarrassed. And again, you want to address the emotion. It's not like, oh, you're trying to cover up your emotions, not feel anything. No, like your emotions, again, they're indicators. Okay. They tell you, hey, I don't like this. Okay. And, you want to acknowledge them, but you don't want to let them control you, okay? There's a very big difference between, acknowledging a negative emotion, saying, okay, I didn't like that, and, going with that negative emotion and, turning it into, oh, therefore, blah, 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 and, having it, strengthen your negative voice and negative thoughts and, negative perception of the world, okay? And so basically what you do is you think, okay, so again, for this example, okay, I, messed up on this tournament. I felt really embarrassed. Why did I do bad in this tournament? Well, I guess I didn't really, I didn't warm up. I didn't warm up enough for that tournament. Or, actually, for a micro tournament, I don't think you really need to warm up too much. So let's say, okay, they had done a lot more, training than I have. Okay, I haven't, trained Minecraft for, 5 years or whatever. So, my aim's bad, or, I could use some work on my clicks per second or whatever. Okay, actually clicks per second doesn't matter too much, but whatever. Okay, point is, okay, you say, okay, why did, bad thing happen? How can I address it? Okay, well, I can train more, right? I can always train more. I'm going to train on this specific thing. When am I going to do it? Set a time, take action, set a plan in motion that you can, actually do, or say, hey, it isn't worth it. Okay, like that's what I've done. I mean, I don't really care about, if I lose in a Minecraft tournament, I could care less. But for me, like, it's not worth it, okay? I don't care if I lose in a Minecraft tournament. So for me, No, I don't really care about training. I mean, I do actually train in Minecraft because I do like getting better, but it's more for the pursuit of getting better rather than actually winning anything. For me personally, but anyway, I digress. So basically, you're going to want to change this, like, incredibly vague, you know, not helpful negative thought into a helpful thought that, you know, it can still be somewhat negative. But the point is, you want to turn this negative, vague, non-hopeful thought into, you know, it can be somewhat negative thought, still, but you want it to be specific, and you want to have a plan of action, and you want it to be, you know, have still compassion for yourself, okay? And you want it to actually be accurate to what, you know, reality actually is, rather than your perception thereof. And that can be hard to do, because again, you know, as we said before, there is only a perception of reality, but, you know, you have to actually decide for yourself what that reality is. You don't want your emotions to cause you to think of, you know, oh, reality is terrible, etc. And therefore, you know, that's going to cloud your perception further, which is going to cause a downward spiral in your thoughts being more negative, perception being more negative, and so forth. You want your perception to be dictated by when you are actually thinking logically, which is sort of the best you can do, okay? Like, obviously you can't really know anything for certain, like I said in the beginning, but like, you could definitely do a lot better than, you know, listening to I suck and oh, the world's terrible, etc. Obviously you can do better than that. But, you know, how are you actually going to do this? Okay, so first of all, we've talked about, you know, okay, you're going to, you know, go back in the past, and hopefully you've already paused the video and done this. Pause it right now. I'm watching you. I will stare at you with my cold, dead eyes because I've changed my skin in my Halloween costume. This is my Halloween skin. I might have said that in the intro. Anyway, so basically, I think I did say that in the intro. I digress. Anyway, so, you know, we've already talked about, okay, so you want to go back in the past, which hopefully you've already done, and, you know, look at all the negative thoughts you've had, and then, you know, make better versions of themselves. And then the next step, you want to basically, anytime you are experiencing a negative thought, you want to know that you're experiencing a negative thought. And this is negative thought or negative emotion, because they tend to go hand in hand. But it's better, like, if you can understand, okay, what are your, you know, triggers for negative thoughts or negative emotions that trigger negative thoughts. And then identify as close to when they happen as possible. Okay, so, you know, if you're having a negative thought and, you know, it turns into a snowball, immediately after be like, that was something I need to do. That was something I need to address, because there is a hidden part of your brain that is always looking out for things that you deem are important. So if you, like, go out of your way to think, hey, this is important. You know, this negative thought, I cannot have this in my life anymore. And, you know, you keep thinking about that, your brain is going to automatically pick up on, hey, this is important to this person. I need to, you know, work and, you know, tell them when it's going on in the moment. Okay? And, you know, then you'll basically start being aware of, hey, this negative thought is happening. I am experiencing a negative thought that, you know, I know when, you know, later, you know, that day, hopefully, when I, you know, address it, you know, I'm not going to agree with the things I'm thinking right now. So why don't I just think about them right now? And then the final step is you begin to change your negative thoughts, or not really change, but you begin to stop them while they're, like, trying to occur. So you're like, oh, I lost the Minecraft tournament. I suck. Wait, no, I don't suck. I already went through this. That's not true. Instead, and then you lay out, you know, your specific, you know, detailed and, you know, plan for the future. Like, oh, no, I don't suck. It's just, you know, I didn't practice enough, and now I'm going to practice, you know, daily every, you know, 1 p.m. or whatever. Okay, like, you can, you know, figure something out. Okay, and if you have trouble, like, figuring out, okay, is this a negative thought, or, you know, what should I replace it with? Feel free to DM me on Discord. Like I said, I am more than happy to help you, okay? It gives my life meaning, please. Please, guys. Okay, but seriously, you know, I'm more than happy to help. As are probably, you know, a bunch of people in my Discord. Right, guys? You guys aren't gonna stab a bunch of people, right? I would never stab anyone. I'm currently not holding a sword, right? Anyway, so, basically, you know, once you are able to stop your evil thoughts from just, you know, like midway, you basically, like, that's almost the entire battle already won, because you've already stopped them from, you know, happening in the first place, which is going to prevent that giant snowball effect of negativity, of emotion, and then negative thoughts, and then more negative emotion, and then more negative thoughts, and so forth. You stop that giant snowball, and then you're able to think more rationally because you aren't in a huge emotional, you know, negativity mess. Okay, which is, you know, often what results from, you know, all this negative, you know, negativity and whatnot. And then the final step is, actually, there's one more slight step, but one of the final steps is basically to, okay, then you replace it with a more, like, realistic thought, okay? And I already said, like, specific, you know, more, like, room for growth, etc. And then, if you really, really are good, you might want to do what I call putting a clown face on it. And this is sort of the final nail in the coffin that really helps you if you can do it right. But be careful, because if you do it wrong, it can make you sound like, you know, you're not taking your emotions seriously, which is definitely not what you want to do. So there is a lot of tact, and I'm slightly hesitant saying this in the video, but, like, if you can get it working, it is one of the best things ever, which is basically you expose your negative thoughts for being incredibly stupid and vague. And like, you make it as stupidly obvious as possible. Because the thing is, your negative thoughts, they sound reasonable, okay? Like, oh, I suck. Oh, yeah, why not? I just messed up on a big tournament. But when you start to analyze them more, they fall apart instantly. So, for example, I suck. Okay, like, what the heck do you mean you suck? Okay, so you suck at literally everything. You can't walk. You can't, like, I think I said this a bit earlier. But you basically, like, take it to the extreme. Like, you know, make it such that, like, literally any reasonable person would be busting out laughing if anyone said that to them because of how ludicrous it is. Like, you know, make it sound like you're being, like a 6-year-old is trying to cyberbully you by saying the same things you're saying to yourself. And, like, make it as stupid as possible. Okay, like, just absolutely just make that evil thought just absolutely, like again, putting a clown face on it. Make it like you should be laughing if you are doing it right. And obviously it's not, you know, easy to do it right. You know, you can still have trouble from time to time. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to do this. I'm kind of an expert at it, to be honest. I've done it for quite a few people. For myself, a bit as well, but slightly less so because it's a bit harder to do it for yourself, and also because I've gotten my evil thoughts mostly under control these days. But the point is, if you can do that, then you basically win, because then, like, once you've entered laughter in the picture, you basically can't take any evil thought that is in that same headspace seriously. Like, you'll just burst out laughing because it's like, what? That makes literally no sense. What the heck? And that is, like, the final nail in the coffin. It's not always necessary. Like, sometimes, you know, you can just go back to, you know, okay, that's not true because of X, Y's. Ugh, that was a burp. Excuse me. You know, this is not true because of XYZ reason, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, if you are, you know, it takes a lot of tact for that. And, you know, I really recommend, if you have any negative thoughts, messaging me on Discord and, you know, asking me about them, because it's really a powerful tool, all the things I've said in this video. And if you use them, I can guarantee you will feel better. Okay, that is literally a guarantee. Okay, because when you think negative thoughts, as I said, that coats your perception of reality, which is going to make you feel worse and also act worse, which is going to worsen your situation from, you know, both the mental and, you know, reality aspect. Okay, it's just not a good thing all around. So yeah, that's gonna, I think that basically sums up everything I wanted to say for this video. As far as future videos are concerned, I actually have a few videos lined up. I think, like, one in particular I've been meaning to make, but, you know, I know my throat's already gone because I have been commentating for 5 years, apparently. Yeah, I've had to, like, pause the video and drink water quite a few times, and then, ugh. Yeah. Anyway, I guess I've been talking for, like, an hour anyway, so, yeah. If you enjoyed, please, like, I know most YouTubers say like and subscribe. I don't care about like and subscribe, okay? Please, like, post your comments in YouTube, like, comment section below, DM me on Discord or post in my Discord. Either one's fine. I'm for obviously posting in my Discord so other people can learn from it. But if it's personal information or you don't feel like sharing, obviously feel free to DM me as well. Because please, I just want to that's the reason I'm making this video. Is not to gain subscribers or likes or whatever. It's to help people like you. So it's it's really important. Make the world a better place and continuous improvement. That's all it's all about. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. See ya. Goodbye.